Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Donald. How's it going? It is late Monday evening or Tuesday morning as I record this. I haven't done one of these Behind the Whistle podcasts in a while, but after a situation occurred today in the Adult League, I decided to record this and give people some of my thoughts. So let's take a look at the clip and keep in mind that what's the question? The question is, was it a travel or was it not a travel? Let's take a look.
Hey, what's behind? What's behind? Oh!
So, after watching the play, what do you think? So, let me explain what happened from my perspective. From the video clip, you'll see two officials, and I'm actually the third. I'm out. The camera angle is a little bit bad, but I'm the third official in three-person mechanics. I was the trail official, and I probably had the best look at the play, though the C official probably had a look as well. But you notice the C official did not make a call. I was the one looking at the play. And looking at the clip, it pretty much confirmed what I saw at that point in time, which is the white ball handler, which was dribbling, to me fell. He claimed he might have been fouled, but I saw him fall, and he dove for the ball and then asked for the timeout. In looking at the clip, because the camera angle was obviously opposite of where my eyes were, was the white ball handler, when he fell, only had, it looks like, one hand on the ball. So he never really, you could say, had full control of the ball until he dove for it. And then just as he sort of rolled, but again, he might not have had control of the ball, he did put two hands on it and asked for a timeout, and that's when I granted the timeout. If we had played the clip through, you would have heard the blue team complaining somewhat vehemently the fact that it was a travel. So what's our take on this? So obviously the call at that point in time in the game, real time, I granted white the timeout. I did not think it was a travel. I saw the ball handler fall. The video confirms what my interpretation was, and I granted the timeout. But given the situation, that's why we're here. We're going to go look at it. I took a look at it, so let's go through what the rules say about this type of situation. All right, guys, like I stated, let's go ahead and take a look at the rules and what they say potentially about this type of situation that occurred in the clip I just showed. Looking at the screen here, you see the section that says Article 5, a player holding the ball. A, may not touch the floor with a knee or any other part of the body other than hand or foot. And then B, after gaining control while on the floor and touching with other than hand or foot, may not attempt to get up or stand. So in this particular clip, did situation A apply? I would say potentially no, mainly because as the early part says, the player has to be holding the ball. While the rules themselves do not state what exactly holding the ball means, one could intimate that the holding the ball means the player has terminated or stopped their dribble. If you go back and look at the clip, the player obviously did not terminate or stop his dribble because he was falling to the ground. And the ball fell to the ground, and then he got on the ground to try to dive after the ball. Had one hand on the ball initially, and then later had two hands on the ball. That's when I granted the timeout. So I really don't think A applies. B potentially could apply, but only, in my opinion, the last couple of seconds of the clip. When the player fell to the ground, he didn't have control of the ball. Again, in my opinion, he only had like maybe one hand barely touching it. Maybe he had it. It's subject to interpretation. But when he actually got two hands with the ball, he actually tried to spin a little bit, and that could have been a travel. However, if you look at the clip, when he slid, he had one hand maybe on the ball. I didn't think he had full control. But when he actually did fully gain control with two hands on the ball, you notice he asked for the timeout fairly quickly, and I actually granted it. So one could argue maybe he could have traveled, not because of the slide, but because when he got two hands on the ball, he did try to spin or try to potentially sit up or something like that. You could have called it, but he asked for the timeout. So in my opinion, that muted the potential travel that may have occurred after the fact. So now that we've kind of looked at the official rules, what we're going to look at next is are some casebook plays that our high school officials have access to that may kind of help people understand this situation a little bit more. All right, like I stated, let's look at a couple of case plays that go over traveling situations that could apply to what happened in the clip. So, first thing we want to look at is number 4.445, situation A. The question posed is it traveling if player A1 falls to the floor, A, while holding the ball, or B, after being airborne to catch a pass or control rebound? Ruling yes in both A and B. Now, this situation doesn't necessarily apply to the situation because, again, the player did not fall to the floor while holding the ball, because he was not holding, he was dribbling it, nor B, he wasn't airborne to catch a pass or control a rebound. So in this particular situation, while it doesn't apply, it does illustrate what, in terms of the official rules, I've read you the rules from Article 5 earlier, the official rule, and this is the exact case play that states what exactly is considered a travel, in which is, hey, if you're holding the ball, meaning maybe you stopped your dribble and you fall, or while you're trying to airborne to get a pass, or controlling a rebound and you fall, then it is a travel. So hopefully that's pretty clear. The next thing we want to look at is the next situation, which is 4.44.5, situation B. A1 dives for a loose ball and slides after gaining control. A1 is in a position either on his or her back or stomach. What can A1 do without violating? Or in this case, violating meaning traveling. Ruling: A1 may pass, shoot, start a dribble, or request a timeout. Once A1 has the ball and is no longer sliding, he or she may not roll over. If flat on his or her back, A1 may sit up without violating. Any attempt to get onto their feet is traveling unless A1 is dribbling. It is also traveling if A1 puts the ball on the floor, then rises and is the first to touch the ball, and that's referring to Rule 4.44.5b in the rule book. So, again, this particular situation may not 100% apply. Let's go over it again. A1 dives for the ball. So in our clip, A1 could be our white player. He did dive for a ball. You could consider a loose ball because he was dribbling and he lost control. And did he gain control and slide down? You could argue he didn't really have full control because his left hand may have been on the ball, and I didn't get the greatest look because based on my angle, I can't see everything from my side. So you could argue he may or may not have had control. But when he finally did gain control with two hands, he called timeout. So I thought that was perfectly legal. Okay? And again, going back to the point, I think that was argued during the game. The sliding in of itself is not a travel because you can slide. It's stated here in the rules. It's stated in the casebook. The argument might have been, oh, he fell. It should have been a travel. Well, he was not. The white player was not holding the ball when he fell. Therefore, that was not a travel. You could argue some of the other stuff after the fact, but really, from a looking back perspective, the player in question tonight looks like he tripped. May have gotten tripped himself. May someone tripped him. At this point, doesn't matter. He fell. Didn't have control of the ball. Dove after it. May not have had full control until it came to a full stop, and then had two hands on the ball, and then he called timeout. Again, point is this is not to argue it. I didn't take it as anything bad. I took it as a good way for me to refresh my rules knowledge. I kind of knew the sliding, it wasn't a travel, but it's good to go back and review the situations and look at this particular play and see if maybe I was mistaken. And you know what? Sometimes us referees are not 100% correct, and I could have missed it. You could argue a lot of different ways on what the situation was. That's okay. I don't mind. But the point in doing this video is to educate myself, number one, but also educate other players because sometimes they have misunderstandings of the actual rules. In any case, that's it for now. Sorry for somewhat long, but hopefully people learn a few things about basketball rules. If things come up in the future, I might get back to start doing this a little bit more. But I hope everyone has a great rest of their day and weeks, and we'll see you again soon. Take care now.